We've had a lot of these Disney live-action remakes, although this one isn't a remake. And is it technically live-action because it's all animated? Regardless, if we're going to do another one, choose Atlantis. That's the one we need to make. Or even Treasure Planet. It's so obvious to me, but for some reason, they haven't done it.
It's time I tell you a story.
A story! So glad I brought some crickets.
Rafiki, keep going.
So let's talk about this. Mufasa, a cub, lost and alone, meets a sympathetic lion, the heir to a royal bloodline. The chance meeting sets in motion an expansive journey of a group of misfits searching for their destiny. Group of misfits. That sounds familiar. This film was rated PG for action, violence, peril, and some thematic elements. It's directed by Oscar winner Barry Jenkins. When they made this announcement, I'm like, this is weird. Because you watch Barry Jenkins' other movies, and you're not sitting there thinking, man, I bet he would crush a Lion King movie. After watching the movie, I kind of get why he was drawn to the script. Some of the themes in here are similar-ish to themes in his other films. Obviously, this is no Moonlight, but I saw this announcement, and I said, I just don't know if this is going to work with his skill set, and is he the type of director that thrives under studio guidance? And when I say guidance, I mean probably string pulling a little bit. Barry Jenkins is not a studio puppet, just an artistic visionary, if you will. And so the pairing was strange from the beginning. Aaron Pierre and Kelvin Harrison Jr. are the adult versions of our characters here, or adult versions prior to them becoming the Mufasa and Scar that we know, right? You can start to hear the voices get more similar as we go. That said, I thought Kelvin Harrison's voice turned more into Jeremy Irons' version of the character who voiced him in the original animated movie, and so I'm like, that sounds like Scar, but not the Scar from the 2019 movie. Mads Mikkelsen is also in this film as the leader of the evil lions that are going after both of our cubs/young adults in this film, and I think he does a nice job. Overall, the voice cast is good, especially the people that we've heard before. The main two players in this one, I'd say that we get the most time with is, of course, Timon and Pumbaa, Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner. I believe they're very good as the characters, but one of my issues with this film is that we are on this adventure, this journey that is building momentum. You're building momentum to get to the ultimate payoff. Now, we know where all of this goes because it's a prequel, and there are prequel-isms all throughout this movie. But as we're building, we continue to cut back to the present with Timon and Pumbaa, and they're telling their jokes. They're on the nose with the Disney references, the Disney-isms. They're kind of, and I wouldn't say breaking the fourth wall, but almost doing that at times. But it's also the kind of dialogue, it's like, let's get back to the story. We got to tell the story. And I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, yeah, let's get back to the story. I don't know why we need to cut to the present every day. We know this is the Lion King world. We know Simba's cub, Simba's next generation exists. So why do we keep having to go back to the present? Let's stay in the past. Let's tell the story. Let's keep gaining momentum. But this movie continues to halt any traction it has constantly. I guess there was a 30-minute span where we didn't do that, and I'm thinking, finally, we're not doing it. And then all of a sudden we go back. I'm just like, ah. Look, this isn't a bad script, right? There are really nice moments in here, and it's essentially a Lord of the Rings type adventure where we're going from point A all the way to point C or D, and you get some sweet, cool things in the middle, a couple of songs. I do want to focus on the songs for just a second. I wanted the songs to be great because Lin-Manuel Miranda, first of all, did them, but also he didn't do Moana 2. Now, I understand Moana 2 was transitioning from a TV show to a movie. He wasn't a part of it at the beginning, but I'm thinking to myself, if he would have just stuck with Moana and worked in some songs for Moana that would have fit right beautifully with the first, I believe that would have worked out way better than Lin-Manuel Miranda doing songs for Mufasa, because the songs, they're fine, they're not overly memorable, but they also don't really feel like Lion King songs to me. And maybe I'll feel differently once I go back and listen to them again. Sometimes songs don't hit right on first watch, and then you find yourself humming it 2 weeks later, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, okay, that's a pretty good song. I haven't felt that way for this, but also Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't really feel like a great fit with the music, and that's unfortunate.
Oh, boo-hoo!
So going back to the present halts the momentum. The music kind of halts the momentum with the story that's actually fairly compelling because Mufasa is lost, trying to get back to the place where he essentially is to be king, and he meets a bunch of new friends on this new adventure, and it's essentially similar to The Lion King because it's a bunch of friends that don't fit in with each other, this crew, and they're on this mission. It's a journey that is semi-compelling. The pieces are there, but they continue to kind of mess with that traction, and the pacing of the movie is a little all over the place. There were numerous times where I felt like it was just kind of dragging through this. Also, the prequelitis, if you will. A lot of hardcore Lion King fans are going to love that. I consider myself a hardcore Lion King fan, but not one where I'm like, God, the lore. What about the lore for Pride Rock? How did we get that? If you want that kind of thing, you're going to love this movie because it's all throughout. If you don't care as much about that kind of stuff like I do, then you're going to be like, oh, okay, cool. That's how he got there. That's how she got there. That's how Pride Rock, all this stuff. And I'm just like, all right. But some of it's really on the nose. Other things are just like, they could have fit in something more original there. Again, we know the end goal, but it's all about the journey here. And there are times where Barry Jenkins' direction shines through, and these characters are, like I said, semi-compelling. There's a lot going on that is going to work. And it's going to work for kids. I'm not saying this movie's not going to work for kids, but I felt like I was at arm's length from these characters most of the time, and so I couldn't really connect like the movie wanted me to. Whether you want to call it animated or live action, you got the live action background, the animated characters. I personally think this would have worked way better with 2D animation. They would never do that in 2024, but you can bring the characters to life more. You can do more things. You can allow them to just feel over the top in such a beautiful way. You could have added more color to it. There's a grayness to this film that is believable and realistic. They add a little emotion to our characters that works way better than the 2019 Lion King, so I do appreciate that. They're clearly learning from their mistakes, but how can you not be impressed with how realistic this looks? From the hairs, I mean, I was looking at Timon and Pumbaa at the beginning of the movie. I'm just like, they look real. It's insane how real they look. The lions are amazing. You zoom into their fur, and you're just like, how do they do this? When they're going through the water, there's a big flood sequence that looked great, mind you, and you're just paying attention to the details, and they get the details right. Maybe one or two shots where it didn't look completely finished. But the fact that this is a 2-hour movie, this detailed, this beautiful, it makes you look at other CGI animals, and you're just kind of like I watched Craven recently, and then I watched this. I'm just like, how do you mess it up that bad in Craven? Thank you all so much for watching. Are you watching Mufasa this weekend? Are you watching Sonic 3? What movie? And I'm thinking about doing an animated movie tier list from 2024. If you want to see that, drop a like on this video. We may do that over the next couple of days. Mufasa is technically impressive, as there's no denying how well animated each animal is, and the attention to detail shines through. This outing has more life than the 2019 remake, even if it struggles keeping you invested in its original story. Barry Jenkins attempts to deliver captivating character moments, but you feel at arm's length throughout most of its runtime, and the pacing's all over the place. Timon and Pumbaa constantly take you out of interesting sequences, and even the songs don't quite hit as hard as you'd hope. So, sort of fell flat for me, but I want to know where you all fall on Mufasa. Thanks for watching. Look who I found snooping around. Did you want to be a part of this video, honey? Yeah. High five.
Bye.
Yeah. There we go. Knuckles. Yeah, that a girl.